Well, it's time for the Traitor.
Yes.
It's time for episode 6
I can't believe we're at 6.
of the Traitors. I get so sad because I don't want the show ever to end.
I don't either.
Ever.
No.
I want to look at Alan Cumming all day, and I want to see what's happening in Scotland at the castle of the Traitors. And I don't want it to end. And it's going way too fast than I'm comfortable
it is.
with.
Are we halfway through? I mean, I'm guessing that it'll
Normally
be done by
it's
like the end
12.
of February.
Normally it's 12, but
Okay.
I asked Alexa last night. I was like, Alexa. Oh, now she's going to answer what? She's going to go what? I asked her how many episodes there were, and I think she said 11. So maybe, maybe the
okay.
reunion.
So 5 more.
Maybe the reunion is 12. And you know who does the reunion? Andy.
I love that.
So it's
I love
it's
that because you
all-
almost forget it's a Bravo show in a way, or
It's
Peacock.
not. I mean, it's Peacock.
It's
so
Peacock.
It's
So
all
Andy
under
is sort of
NBC.
adjacent to it.
Yeah, well, it's all owned by NBCU.
yeah.
So let's
Wonderful.
start out in the turret.
Yes.
Shall we?
Oh yes.
Carolyn. She says,
She's
I heard my
on to
name
Danielle.
from you.
Yeah.
Danielle, you're trying to get me banished. And she's like, no, I'm not. And she's like, yes, you are.
I
Poor
give
Cookie.
Carolyn credit for saying it. Like, some people may not, they would keep that close to them and not say anything.
Oh, well, you have to. I mean, there's only 3 of you up in that turret. You've
Yeah,
got to be
you gotta-
on track with your traitors because
Okay.
there's nowhere to hide up there. It's just the
Yeah.
3 of you, right?
But now that the traitors are out for each other, it's getting real risky
oh,
with
yeah.
those
I've never seen the
guys.
traitors be so screwed up as they
No.
are now.
No.
And she said because of Jeremy. I don't know what, like, she's going after Carolyn because of Jeremy. I don't
well,
think.
Danielle is the one that wanted Jeremy murdered in the coffin because Jeremy was on to Danielle.
Right,
So
but-
is that why she was saying that?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I couldn't
Oh.
quite get that whole thing. And Carolyn,
See,
like,
these game players are so smart.
Well,
They
there's
go
a
over my
lot-
head when they're saying things sometimes.
well,
I'm
there's a
like,
lot of things that happen.
Yeah.
Like Carolyn's like, there's no one I want to murder other than you two right now.
I love the way
What
she
am I
talks.
doing with her kooky? I love
Her
Carolyn the-
kookiness.
Carolyn the oddball.
Yeah, yeah.
And Danielle, it's a dysfunctional family. Let's start from the beginning tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, Danielle, let's see. And she says, I'll make it right tomorrow. And then she says,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to Carolyn. But she wasn't overly apologetic.
No, I think probably because she didn't want to make herself look as guilty as she was, so she probably was just glassing it over.
No.
But
And
now
then
they're floating who they're gonna murder.
Right. So it's either Wes or Bob Harper or Ivor.
I like.
Yeah, there's always one rando.
Yeah.
He's like the rando royal.
Yeah,
We'll call him the rando royal.
The Rando Royal, exactly.
So at the breakfast room, Dolores. So here's what's so funny about this. First thing Dolores says is, "I'm going to have survivor guilt if Danielle gets murdered tonight."
Right.
So they are not thinking that Danielle is a traitor at all.
Many people are not suspecting
Not
her
at all.
Yeah.
And she's like, if she gets murdered, she gave me the shield. And then Sierra, our little Sierra Summerhouse, I like to spend time in bed and not really deal with people, says, do you guys think Danielle is a traitor? I mean,
Yeah.
She said it straight up.
I think Sierra is smart,
But she said
She's
all
just-
the crying.
Yeah.
I don't buy all the crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
Sierra.
She's
but
onto
nobody
it.
kind of said anything.
It didn't land with anybody.
It kind of fell on deaf ears.
A
as they
bit.
say. And Derek said there's blood in the water. People are thinking Rob's a traitor. He should be dead.
Yeah.
Derek. He should be dead. And Derek
Derek
was
is right.
smack on,
Mhm.
but again, so we
I
find
like
out.
Derek, by the way. I do. I
don't
like him.
Find him either way. I just, he's just there to me.
Mm-hmm.
But
He's
find
just
out.
I think he's smart like the way Dylan is smart. They're
Yeah.
they're really
he's
sharp
no
onto
dummy.
it.
He's no dumb.
Yeah.
And,
But the only thing with Derek is he'll never suspect Danielle because him and Danielle were in the challenge together.
Oh,
Or was it Big
Derek
Brother?
was big. They were big.
So
brother.
they're big,
Big
brother.
I
They're
think.
friends. So it's like he's not even thinking about Danielle, but he is definitely on to Boston Rob.
So before we say who was murdered, spoiler alert. I've been forgetting to do this on our Traitors podcast. So there's a spoiler alert. Walk away. Turn down the volume if you haven't heard it yet. But who was murdered? But Bob H.
I'm sad about it. He's entertaining on that show.
He was angry.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm angry
I'm
about
angry.
it.
He's just such a good heart, you
and
know?
Sierra was crying. I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, I'm going to rip this place up if it's Bob H. And Sierra, I was waiting to see you rip this shit up. You didn't rip any shit up, Sierra. I was waiting.
Oh.
And of course, avant-garde Alan shows up
Oh,
in
yeah.
his peacock blue tie
Yeah.
with his plaid suit with the sequins on the sleeve.
Yep. And the
his
lapel. I loved it.
Peacock blue beret. Beret.
Oh, love it.
And he said, perplexed little posse. Hello, my perplexed little posse. From the treadmill to dead still. He said it that, our friend Bob H. No more Bob. Bam on the floor. Now he's doing the throwdown for every person who gets murdered. He's tossing them on the ground. He didn't
Does he do that? Didn't he do that in the past or
He
no?
did it in the past, but not for every player. Now it's his
Oh.
signature where he's just slamming them
Throwing
on the
it
ground.
like,
Where
off
he's
with them.
throwing them on the ground. So now we've got a little more gameplay,
Yeah.
which I think is worth going into because it's fascinating.
Mm.
Like we were just saying, the missions are almost an afterthought at this point.
They are.
Like,
I'm more into like, you know,
just
the
the
round
gameplay in the
table
house,
and,
of
and the
course.
talk going on in the chatter.
That round table, wouldn't it be fabulous just to get in there and sit in that
Oh,
round
I
table?
would love it.
Oh,
Oh my
It's
God.
amazing. It would
Yeah.
be great if
I know, like when I'm watching it, my heart starts beating
Mine too.
faster.
I'm
like,
biting my
I'm all
nails.
like tense and oh God.
Me too. I'm biting my nails. I'm literally ripping off cuticles, like picking. I'm like, stop. What are you? I'm sitting on my hands a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I don't want to bite my nails any more than they've been bitten.
Yeah.
So Tom thinks it's
Oh.
Dolores.
Clever Tom
You
Sandoval.
dumb idiot. Tom thinks it's Dolores, and he pulls Brittany aside, and he's like,
Oh,
my
God.
God, a convo with and she's like, oh, I have such a headache in this conversation with Sandoval.
Oh,
Like, you see her just rubbing her eyes, and then I was like, a conversation with Sandoval could kill anyone. Like the stupidity, the dumbness, like the absolute. I mean, the man's no Copernicus. Let's
Right.
just say that. So Rob floats Wes's name. So now Boston Rob is going to
For Wes.
doing his job. Just
Because Wes is on to him.
he wants right. Well,
Wes is on to Rob.
Wes and
Anyone
Derek,
who's on to Rob,
know.
you're gonna get in Rob's bullseye.
But
So-
Rob, man, the man is a freaking master. I mean, we'll get into it, but
Yes.
my God. So Wes and Derek
talk about the power of influence.
Oh my God.
Woo.
How to influence people. What's that book? You know, how to make friends and influence people. I think it's Covey.
Yeah, yeah,
What was that book? Stephen Covey, I think.
yeah.
Was the author, but Rob definitely picked up a copy. He said he learned from his grandfather when he learned how to play poker.
Oh,
When
there
he
you
was
go.
a kid, and he was like,
He's
once
got a
I
poker
got the
face.
strategy down. Sorry, Bostonites, my accent. I think
It's good. It's
I
good.
know it's terrible. I love to do it, but it sounds ridiculous.
I
get
do
it.
love his Boston accent.
I do
like
too.
listen
I love
to him
a
talk
Boston
is
accent.
great.
I love a Boston accent.
Yeah,
Creep
so do
up.
I.
So Wes and Derek say they want to influence the rest. That Boston Rob is a traitor, and they're
Yes.
exactly right, and they're totally onto it, and it's theirs to lose. And
Mm-hmm.
let's continue because it's interesting what happens. Beyond interesting. Then Carolyn talks to Brittany, and Brittany says, "You said my name," and she says. What? She said, I didn't say your name. I didn't do that. I, of course, didn't do that. And of course,
Yeah.
Carolyn knows that it's Danielle.
Danielle
who's-
told
but
Brittany.
But Brittany didn't tell her, though.
Yeah.
In that moment, she didn't say, I'm not going to say who it was.
But
she
Carolyn
didn't.
put it together.
And that, of course, comes up at the round table.
yeah.
And
So now
Carolyn-
she's back onto Danielle again.
Carolyn caught you, Danielle, because Carolyn was like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we're going to fix things. And
Yeah.
right in that moment. And you know what? We didn't see any footage of Danielle
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it right. So
No.
I don't know if she did, but I'm a sucker. That's why I would suck.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sucker. Like, I believe that Danielle was going to make it right when she said that, but I'm too trusting.
Yeah,
I'm
you're trusting.
I'm too trusting off the bat, always.
Yeah.
And then when people screw me, I'm like,
Because you're a good person.
oh, thanks.
You got a
Thanks.
pure heart.
Shit.
I
thanks.
just don't. I
Shucks.
don't
So are
like
you.
Danielle.
I don't
Thank
either.
You.
I don't
I
like
don't
either.
like her at all. So like even with that, hollow apology to Carolyn when they were talking and all that, I'm just like, I just don't want this woman on the show anymore. Get her out.
No, exactly. I agree. I don't
Yeah.
like her. And I was like, Carolyn caught you. I was screaming at the screen, Carolyn's caught you, Danielle. kooky Carolyn. So the mission that we said is kind of an afterthought, right? The mission is there's a giant statue of a traitor.
I love it. Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
I mean, it was awesome. So basically, they had to find these crates and the incorrect answers. The crates were going to explode, and then there were shields available, and
they all went for the shields first
they all
because
went for the
everyone
shields,
wanted a
but
shield.
Nobody so I didn't realize that, and last year I finally figured that out. I'm finally figuring it out now. I thought they had to tell who got the shields, but it's great that they didn't tell. Because if the traitor doesn't know, then they don't know.
Yeah, if they don't know and they murder that person and they have the shield, the murder goes nowhere.
I would imagine. I don't think that's ever happened before. That's a great question. I was just thinking what happens. And I guess maybe they'll say, no, that person has a shield. You got to murder someone else. Maybe that happens off camera or who knows. But it's never happened yet.
Right.
So the traitor at the end tumbled to the ground.
So it did explode. That's perfect.
And the shields were in the crates. And the crates were the shields were given out. And they banked, what, 30 grand for the pot?
Yeah, 30 grand.
All right.
So that's a good amount. And who got the shield? I know Shell got a
grabs a shield. I love that.
So Carolyn, a traitor herself, got a shield, maybe to throw everyone off?
Of course. If I was a traitor, Steve, my husband and I, executive producer Steve, we're both saying, if I was a traitor, I would go for the shield every time.
Yeah, right. Because people are never going to
throw everybody off the scent, right?
Yeah, right.
Chriselle took the shield from Dylan, right?
Right. Or
Chriselle fetish. I said Chriselle has a shield and Dylan has a shield.
Dylan, that was.
right.
Or is it Derek? No,
Dylan.
It's Dylan.
Dylan got the shield, and no one will tell them who has them. So they're keeping it close to the vest.
Oh, and also Carolyn got Gabby on the side, and Gabby told her that Danielle was floating her name too. So,
Danielle. You think Danielle, I know she's got braids and stuff, but the bottoms, the rattiness of the bottom of her hair drives me mental.
Yeah, I'm always staring at that
Again,
too.
it looks painful to me.
Yeah. It looks painful and
like
just
if she
a
tried
mess.
to take them out like a mess.
A mess. Like really get that like kind of,
I don't know.
She's always wearing that hair like that.
Oh, the hair. No.
Not working.
No.
I know
not
this is a rough and tough kind of atmosphere
with the housewives there, though. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Not with Chriselle, too, who always looks like fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, she looks perfect.
And Gabby.
I was just going to say that. Even
Brittany.
And Carolyn in her kooky way. She's even got her looks together.
She's put together tats and all. She's got the tats going with the leather. And so.
I am going to make one looks comment, though, because actually Dan was saying it to me. He was watching it with me last night, too. Dan,
Chris's
my
husband. Right.
That Dolores, she looks a little older, right?
Does.
Like, I think, did the Botox wear off? Or she's just not wearing the makeup like she normally wears?
She's caving in. And I think what's happening is she probably got really skinny. I'm sure she was taking something.
She's on Ozempic. I think she admits it.
So it does do that to you. It does. That's like called Ozempic face. And it's sort of like there's a lot of muscle wasting going on.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She just looks a little older.
She does. She doesn't have all the the bells and whistles on like she does.
She's never glam squad, right?
Correct. Probably not. I'm sure there's glam there, but. I can't see Dolo being like, I'm bringing 5. She's not Erica Jane.
Oh, she's not like
travel with, 100,000 a month.
Right.
Erica Jane. So, I mean, and it's cold. And like, do you want to get up in the castle? And you know what I mean? Like, she's downplaying it, which is great.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So, where are we now? So Wes tells Dolores that Sandoval floated her name. And Dolores is so freaking funny.
She's so funny.
She's like, I feel like he didn't get a lot of attention in his younger years. That's sweet Dolores.
That's the Dolores we know.
Right.
She can break down the human psyche very well. And I think she
was just being nice, but saying, I don't think he got a lot of attention as a kid. Like, not trying to be too mean about it. But
well, it was almost like she was being sympathetic for him in a way. Like
Dolores is a traitor.
Oh God. No way.
And Ivar now and Derek talk about Derek's going to go after Rob, and he's asking for support. So they're doing their lobbying too. Yeah, Wes and Derek.
Well, Derek's really putting himself. He says it. I'm putting myself out there because this is a big risk to go after the big dog.
Right. he went after the big dog.
Yeah.
And Carolyn is now planting the seed for Danielle everywhere, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
Good for you, Carolyn. I hope
she's
Carolyn,
got guts.
You know what? Part of me wants to see Carolyn win this whole freaking thing.
Wouldn't that be great?
I would love it.
I would love it. I would love to see
Oh my God,
her
I would
win.
love it. We are rooting for you, Carolyn.
Well, one thing that's great with Carolyn, even though Danielle's trying to get her name out there, do you think one person thinks Carolyn's a traitor? I don't think anyone thinks
they all
Carolyn's
think
a traitor.
she's not capable. First
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
she's not capable.
The kookiness saves her.
It really does. She's way smarter and you know what? Than
She's-
anyone gives her credit for.
Yes.
And that is what you want in this game.
Yes.
You want them to underestimate you all day long.
She was such a good traitor pick.
So Wes is trying to recruit Sam and Brittany. Brittany is now suspicious of Wes. So you could, this game is so many twists and turns.
So also Chriselle is suspicious of Wes, and she tells Boston Rob about that. So Chriselle is definitely lined in with Boston Rob.
Yeah,
she doesn't even think for a second it would be him.
Rob is a true what's called Svengali.
Yes.
Like he is just a Svengali.
Good word.
You could just even though he's got his hat on backward,
Yep.
he's got his big old belly out. You can tell Chriselle's probably like, a little crushing a little bit. you
Yeah,
know?
she might be.
But crushing meaning like he's just a great
like
player.
I'm fascinated by him.
Right. Yeah, right. Not like
Not
he's
like
this
I
hot-
like.
She was married to Justin Hartley for Christ's sake. I mean, wasn't she?
She was, and she's currently with
She's married to
G
the hottest
Flip,
man like
who's
on the
like
planet.
Yeah.
Was. I mean,
was
Justin Hartley was hot.
super
I
hot,
mean,
but
he's
she's a
gorgeous.
lesbian now too. So
Chriselle?
yes,
So she's
she's married to G Flip, who refers to themselves as they, but so she's non-binary G Flip, but they're married.
Is she younger?
I think she is a little younger. Chriselle's beautiful. She's probably
gorgeous.
like 40.
So okay, and Gabby's now a lesbian as well.
Right, that's right. Gabby too. That's right. She was on The Bachelorette. She was with somebody on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and then she became a lesbian.
Guy there. Well, you don't become a. I mean, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just saying she's now identifying, I guess, as a lesbian.
Right.
Which is awesome. Okay.
So
Derek makes his case. Oh no, we're at the round table. Now we're getting at the round table, and of course it starts out with Dolo and Tom, which
I love it.
which is hilarious because everyone's like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Tom, I heard you said my name."
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, "Are we kidding me?" Like everybody's like, "Will you shut up?" Like, "Yeah, Tom."
Yeah.
Like I think it was like Derek. Like, "Yeah,
Genius.
Just shut up, Copernicus." Here we go.
Yeah, they had to shut him down because he was trying to talk, and they're like, "We have too many things to go through. This is nonsense."
Oh my God. So Wes and Derek gonna go for Rob and Carolyn. Pardon me. Something's happening to me. There's all kinds of demons in my body. Pardon. Carolyn's gonna go for Danielle.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm waiting for. So
Yeah.
So Derek makes his case against Boston Rob, and he does.
He's
it
really
with
putting himself out
He
there.
does it with a slight bit of flair when he's like, "I think you guys denied him. You created a monster, and this guy behind me made him a traitor."
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And he cites a few more examples in there, but ultimately that's what happens. Now, this is where we see the masterful Rob,
Yeah.
Boston Rob, because he mounts this defense as little bit confusing as it was.
Yeah.
He still has everybody at the table like,
Oh. Yeah.
oh, right.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Listen,
Yeah.
he goes in there with the cards stacked against him. He has
Yes.
Wes and Derek
Yeah.
making a case. They've been plugging away for him all day. So here's Rob's defense. Here it is. He said, first thing Bob the drag queen said when he was leaving, which is true.
Yeah.
Everything I said was a lie.
Yeah.
Including
Yeah.
Rob's a traitor, right? And then he said, why would the traitors not banish Ivar? Why Ivar? Because Ivar's a proven faithful. So, but I still don't understand why he was bringing up Ivar. And he said, whoever had Ivar and I in the same room, he's like, I was shocked to see Ivar in the room the next day with me. And I didn't understand why, just because he's a faithful, and I guess he had a target on him. So why didn't they kill him? Why didn't the traitors kill him? But at the same time, he's like, when he said this line, when he was like, someone here is very smart. When he said that, I was like,
Yeah.
it just,
He's
I don't
talking
know, it
about
was
himself.
just a tagline. I don't know, because his his defense was a little confusing about the whole Ivar thing.
I was having a hard time following it. It was a good
But
case.
I do like the part that he said, because they didn't want to waste a murder on me.
Mm-hmm.
They thought, okay, we can create confusion, we can put a target on me, but they didn't want to waste a murder on me. And he's like, I've heard Carolyn's name today. I've heard Danielle's name today. I've heard Dolores's name today. And who did they all come from?
Mm-hmm.
Wes. So it's like, oh my God. Like, he's such a smooth, masterful talker.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
And then he calls out Wes for being a traitor. And
I think that
That's what's
Wes did
happening.
not do a good job defending himself.
Wes is so unlikable.
He was like, I think he was starting to panic, and it was like, now the spotlight's on me. And the case he was making was not.
But actually, I thought he did have a good comeback. I think Wes, to me, is the most unlikable guy, right?
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. There's something about him that just comes off like, I don't know. He reminds me of like somebody, what is the Irish, not the Irish mob, but there's a big place in Ireland. Like they're
The
called
IRA?
Yeah, he reminds me of like an IRA guy. Like you'd see him with his gun. Like,
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like
savage.
Yeah, like just not. You know, like guys I've seen in the movies,
like
something
just
out
a
of
tough
Patriot
exterior
Games.
through and
Yeah,
through.
something out of Patriot Games. There was the IRA
Okay.
in that movie, something like
Okay.
that. Like he's the bad guy in Patriot Games.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Wes makes a great comeback. He says Bob the TDQ when said we got to get one of the guys from the cages, and he thinks Bob the TDQ, Bob the drag queen, and Rob had an alliance that they made up in the turret, and he said if you come after me, then I've got total rights to come after you. But that's not what happened about an alliance. But they do have alliances as traitors.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he was right on. That's what Bob said, and that's what made Rob pissed.
Yeah.
So these two it's almost like they were up in the turret.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Yeah.
Derek and Wes, they're not traitors, but they are right on. So they are smart.
Very smart.
And then Wes' stupidity. This is where he blew it for
Yeah.
himself when he says, I have my eye on you. Whoever's going to try and take me out, my eye's on you, like a threat. Like,
It was, one of them said, this is like a threat.
this is a threat.
So,
and
of
he's
course.
like, no, it's not. It's not. So he had to backpedal.
Then he had to backpedal that. And that's
but
what I'm saying. He was
sounded
digging a hole.
like a traitor. And I'm like, my God, Rob knows when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Rob knows to keep his mouth closed. He says his piece. He shuts up.
Yep.
That's when Wes blew it for himself right there. Like, what does that mean? You have your eye on us, right? Because you're a traitor and you're going to kill us.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But then our girl,
Carolyn
pipes
She's pointing
up.
to Danielle.
Love it. She's like, hang on.
Yep.
She's like, I'm the quirky one. And she's like, in life and in here, I'm the quirky one, but I found an ally in Danielle until today.
Yeah.
Right? Until recently, she's creating lies and chaos. Carolyn goes after Danielle.
Yeah.
It's you, Danielle. You're the traitor.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So good for her to speak up. I mean, she's letting Danielle know.
Good.
And
I'm so
she's
glad
trying to
she
see if
did
she
it.
can get to anybody else at that round table.
I'm so glad she did it.
I am
because
too.
She's been, and
and you know what? At the round table, Carolyn's been quiet. Like, she really hasn't been saying much.
Well,
so
she says a lot with her face. Like, if
yeah,
you're
she's
watching
making
us
a
on
lot of
YouTube,
expressions.
on the kooky eyes. Like,
and eyes are all over
she
the
can't
place.
help it. Her face moves. Her lips move.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
She's like, like everyone's watching her, but that's just her.
Yeah, that's
and it
her.
works to it. And then Derek basically said one last thing: don't vote out Wes. Stick to the facts. It's 100% Rob. Stick to the facts. Stick to the facts. But guess what? Another spoiler alert coming up. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and so if you're listening, because we're about to tell you who gets banished, but Danielle in that stupid hat. It was driving me nuts. It was just plopped on her head.
With the rat's hair
It
underneath
was just plopped on her head. It just looked weird and dumb. So it was interesting to see who voted. Dylan voted for Wes, so he's still in Boston Rob's corner. Carolyn votes for Danielle, which of course. Sam voted for Wes. Ivar voted for Wes, and then the Chrishelles and the Brittany's voted for Wes, and then Sierra was the deciding vote.
Ooh, I wasn't sure which way Sierra was. It was going to be Wes or Rob. I just didn't know.
But wait, Danielle, I forgot to say. voted for Rob. So it's even more screwed up.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That was dumb. She's like,
Well,
I really have to think about this.
I have
And
to
she
give it to
blew
Rob. Rob didn't vote for a traitor. He voted for Wes. But Carolyn voted for Danielle, a traitor. And Danielle voted for Rob, a
Rob's
traitor.
like, oh, my
So
God.
it's like the traitors are all effed up.
They're messed.
They
They're
are
messed
so
up.
messed up.
And, of course, Sierra votes for
Wes. Yeah.
And Wes is banished from the castle. I love the circle of truth. Get up into my circle of truth.
And he was pretty upset.
He's nasty.
And nasty.
He told them all, fuck you. Fuck everybody.
F all you guys with the middle finger.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
I mean, you got to
It's a
go out
game,
that way.
pal. You got to be a jackass.
But
so
I think
bad.
that him being a jackass was showing that he wasn't a nice guy, and he didn't get a lot of friends in that house.
No, he said you're all chess pieces anyway. I don't care about any of you. Like,
Yeah.
gross. You're
Yeah,
disgusting.
like, ew.
Go back to your IRA-like existence. Go find your people in the rainy lands and go sit in a cold corner and rock and put your guns together.
Yeah.
That's what he. That's what I feel
Go
like
back
he does.
to the Patriot
That's what
or
I feel like
whatever.
he does. Go back to Patriot games. That's what I feel
Patriot
like.
game.
That's what I feel like he does on his off time. He just kind of hangs out in the basement, in a
Probably.
cold basement with a lot of rain coming in. It's very damp and wet. Boston Rob, masterful. He's masterful.
He just scraped by, right?
What a
It was
shame.
like it was almost a tiebreaker, and then Ciara went for Wes.
But
so
then Rob,
he
again.
just made it out. But everyone's kind of got their eye on Rob.
But
now.
Rob's always playing the game. Thanks for believing in me.
Yeah.
Saying, thanks for believing in me.
Yeah.
He's very, like, oh, Rob. And then
He's on thin ice, though. I really wonder.
And then Brittany comes in and she's like, I want to yell at you, Derek. And she's like, you're a dirty scumbag liar. And he's like, why? And he's like, because you told me you weren't going to go after Rob. And then you went after Rob. And he was like, wow. She's like, this is great man logic. She's like, he lied to my face and he's screaming at me. Fabulous. Like, I was like, oh my God, I thought that was actually kind of funny.
It is funny, but Derek does make a good point. Like, why does she so have Boston Rob's back? Like, I don't know. I think that a lot of them are afraid of Boston
The
Rob.
Svengali, they'd rather have him with them.
Yeah,
than
they're
against them.
afraid of him.
And they might think he is, truly think he's faithful.
Yeah.
Because he can get very sheepish, like, thanks for believing in me.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Right.
I'm just a faithful like you.
Yep.
And now we get up to the turret.
Oh, they all hate each other.
Boston Rob's like, this is the worst group of traitors
Yeah.
I have ever seen. No one trusts anyone. But Rob, in all fairness, you started it.
Yeah.
You started
Well,
it.
he did. He
did,
definitely
and-
started this. And then Danielle thought she could be like Rob. And now Carolyn's in the mix.
Danielle got too much confidence by injection. She was like,
hell yes.
She was like, oh, yeah, I'm up here with Rob. I'm playing with the
Yeah.
big dogs. And
She's not a big dog.
no, you're not a big dog. You're a mangy dog.
She can't
'Cause
handle
that
this.
hair on the bottom needs to be addressed. Needs to be addressed. Now we're up in the turret.
Yeah.
It ends in the turret. And they all stare each other down. Like, who said it's all out there now?
Yep.
Oh, Carolyn said we keep going. Like, she wasn't, we'll keep going the way we're going. Like,
Yeah.
And Rob said we had an agreement not to go after each other. And Rob said it's messed up. And Danielle says, well, she went after Rob because of the Bob the Drag Queen. And I felt like this was the first time that Boston Rob really said, like, look, it's because he came after me at the mission.
Yeah,
but he didn't say
his name.
But he didn't say your name. He just
But
he
it-
said the 3 new guys. That's as much as coming after me.
He said like my time would have been up anyway because everyone was looking at the 3 of us then. So eventually
And then
my
Carolyn-
expiration was coming.
And then Danielle said, I didn't say your name today. You
Yeah.
know, Carolyn. And she was like, yeah, that's crazy. Because yes, you did. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's a mess. And I wonder where, Boston Rob didn't even seem like he had a plan yet. He was just like, this is
Well, we
a
have
mess.
to address the traitors among the traitors.
We got to talk about the traitors among the traitors. I mean, forget who
it's
we're going to
called-
murder tonight.
It's called, it's the same as, 2 robbers going in and holding somebody up. And then when they give the money, then he turns to the other guy and says, now you give me all your money too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's the traitor it's the bad guy then turning against the bad guy. You know? So Carolyn said, you made lies up to Danielle. Like, you told Brittany that I was coming for her. And she said, well, I meant that you were coming to kill her. That's what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
All right, Danielle. And says, Rob doesn't know what to do. Boston Rob is without
a plan.
Just like you just said.
Yeah.
And he says, we gotta go after Danielle. And she said, well, if you bring it, I'll bring it back.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. But I don't think Danielle can against Carolyn Robb. I think she'd be dead.
Yeah, I think so.
And, Schick, it's just a bunch of lies. And she says, well, you don't have anything on me, Carolyn says. And she's like, well, you'll come after me with a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
We will see. And that is where we leave it.
I can't wait for the next
Go
one. Did they
Carolyn
give
in the
preview?
turret.
I don't even remember what the previews
but I think it got cut off.
Okay.
But it's getting too much. It's getting too close to the end. We're going to be on episode 7. I'm not ready for it to be episode 7. I want it to be episode 2.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
It's the best show right now on TV.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's the greatest. It's beyond the best reality show for sure. Which is why I won the Emmy. And why I won the Emmy for the host.
Yes.
So, traitors, fellow traitor game players, we will see you next week.
Yes.
For episode 7 of Traitors. I can't help
it. You do that so good.
I try to do Alan Cumming. It's not great, but it's what I hear.
Oh, no.
All right.
It's perfect.
So we are out from Traitors episode 6. It's the ladies in the living room. And thanks for listening. And follow us on Littler Podcast, LITLR Podcast on Instagram, and Littler Podcast on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
We will see you next time.
See you next time.
Scotland, the castle.